Go for the call. To Ururoa Flavell.
Kia ora, Mr. Speaker. Kia ora tātou katoa. Mr. Speaker, it makes for a fairly depressing read to look at the 2007-2008 Financial Review of Housing New Zealand Corporation and learn that, quote, the HNZC's key initiatives on service delivery for Maori were not met in 2007-2008, end of quote. So what's the penalty for the systematic failure? Does the Chief Executive get his pay docked or her pay docked? Are contracts withdrawn, or are individuals held to blame? I haven't seen it myself. And then we read on, not only has HNZC seen a slight increase in the number of people presenting with urgent housing needs, but it appears likely that there will be challenges in reducing waiting lists. Mr. Chair, we would remind the House that the operating premise for Housing New Zealand Corporation is to provide state housing for people on low incomes or with unique housing needs. And Maori inevitably fall into both categories. We know that some 67% of all Maori are renting or boarding, and that home ownership is still in the hands of the few. These housing needs are also unique in response to the Crown's Article 3 obligations to invest in all the rights and responsibilities of Maori gaining equal citizenship. So we would expect this commitment to be demonstrated in the most appropriate and enduring application of the estimated $15 billion value of the Crown's and entities' assets. Mr. Chair, we have all experienced, I'm sure, enough horror stories about wet, damp, mouldy state houses and the direct impact that this has had on the health of tenants. But I can say that from the day that we in the Māori Party came into coalition with National, healthy housing has been a huge priority for us. And so we were delighted a couple of months ago to support the injection of an extra $104 million into state housing upgrades. We have been concerned at the squalor that some tenants have lived in, a reality demonstrated in this financial review with the understatement, quote, HNZC has allowed some of its housing stock to become run down, I reckon. Mr. Chair, there has been talk about the state being a slum landlord, turning a blind eye to housing which has fallen into a disgusting state of disrepair. We know that for many rural renters in particular, they've suffered from poor property conditions, less choice, lower levels of maintenance. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chair, what we are hoping is that was then and this is now. Certainly we have appreciated the willingness of the Minister of Housing to work constructively with the Māori Party. We have made clear the aspirations and enthusiasm of iwi and hapu groups to take control of their housing options, and it appears possible that the Housing Innovation Fund will enable these same aspirations to be achieved. Of course, it's not just about addressing the urgency of need for tenants. Housing NZ is in a position to work with Māori housing providers and iwi on how we can actively be involved in upgrade work and advance papakainga housing. Mr. Chair, I have real evidence of this in action. In fact, last Friday with Simon Bridges, I was in Te Puke with the people there, Tapuika, and able to see the great initiative they have taken in conjunction with Ngāti Tūheke, Makahai Marae and Rangiuru 2G Trust to lessen the struggle of building homes for their people on Māori land. The possibility of building papakainga housing on multiply owned land, Māori land, has challenged our people for decades. The Māori Party has consistently raised the issues around investing in better utilisation of Māori land, and we're absolutely delighted that the government has seen or has been so responsive in its readiness to listen to the aspirations and solutions of tangata whenua as they come up with their own solutions. Mr. Chair, it's about time that the great land mass owned by Māori in the Western Bay of Plenty, for example, we're talking about 22,000 hectares, is now able to be utilised for affordable housing on ancestral land. It's not just my electorate of Wairiki that's benefiting. Northland's 3 district councils are also coming to the party to deliver a unified approach to papakainga land. The Far North, Whangarei and Kaipara district councils are working with Te Puni Kōkiri and Te Hauaroa Kaikohe to establish some clear processes to enable housing subdivisions and residential unit construction on multiply owned Māori land. Mr. Chair, we're really pleased that the new approach being taken and listening to the ideas that Māori have to develop their own housing solutions on their land is starting to bear some fruit.
Okay.